This is the Tuesday, February 9th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East along with you. It's a relatively quiet and fairly chilly start to the day. We have a lot to talk about, by the way, in today's edition of the video. The coldest 5 to 7 day stretch of the winter getting set to unfold for us here across the region, and potential winter weather fun and games as well. Again, I'll get into all that here as the latest edition of the video rolls along. 34 during the 5 o'clock hour in Greensboro as I cut the video. Ski resort areas, boy, they're doing great. Some fantastic skiing and riding conditions all week long and all weekend long, too, if you want to head up that way. Just great stuff. All right, there's your temperatures. Again, during the 5 o'clock hour this morning, 21 in Boone, 37 degrees in Columbia, Myrtle Beach at 41, Cape Hatteras at 43 degrees. We do have a few sprinkles and flurries that have been moving through parts of the Piedmont. Some of that not reaching the ground. What is not a big deal. And you have these little spokes of energy pivoting around a big trough, diving into the eastern part of the country. And as each of those kind of pivots through, here comes one, there's another one upstream here, and each of those could bring us a few snow flurries here and there over the next couple of days. But the big story is the cold weather. Now, up in the mountains, certainly the accumulating snow continues. The pink shaded mountain areas, it's winter storm warnings that remain in effect, and the reason is continued northwest flow snow. So over the next several days, an additional 6 to 10 inches of snow is a possibility in some of the more favored northwest-facing slopes. So some natural snow to add to those fantastic ski conditions, too. All right, but cold air, that's your big story. The big trough settling into the eastern part of the country. For instance, here in the Triad today, a little bit breezy. Winds 10 to 20 miles per hour or so. So at best, you're talking wind chill values today in the lower 30s. Around the region, these are your actual high temperatures. And then it's going to be a cold one tonight. And here's your lows across the region as we head on into our Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday, another day with maybe a flurry in northern sections and northeastern sections of North Carolina up into Virginia. But the big story is the cold. There's your Wednesday high temperatures across the region. Thursday, a little bit of mountain snow continuing, especially during the morning. Sunshine for the foothills and the Piedmont and the upstate, but a cold day. There's your Thursday high temperatures. Now you get on out into Friday and the weekend. The Friday storm system that I was mentioning yesterday has continued to weaken on most models, so it doesn't look like that's going to produce any significant precipitation. But boy, the cold air's coming. Big time surge of Arctic air for the weekend. And as a for instance, here's what we're going with at the moment. For low temperatures Sunday morning, obviously that is very, very cold stuff. Now you get on out into Monday, Sunday night and Monday, that is when there's another potential storm system that begins to develop and roll on in. That's the European model solution, and the European does continue to put out some snow in the areas north and west of Interstate 85 in North Carolina. Not as big of a snow and ice event on the most recent run as what you had with the 12Z run yesterday, but still that's pretty significant. I'll show you more of the detailed modeling here as we continue through the video. Let's start off right here with the upper level pattern. All right, so this is where we stand as we get into Saturday. Here comes your piece of energy diving down on the backside. By the time you get to Monday, middle of the day, there's your big trough moving in. All right. Now, before we get there, there's your cold air for the midweek. These are your 850 millibar temperatures off the European model Wednesday morning. That's pretty cold stuff. And again, there's your even colder blast of air for the weekend. So let's talk about how this looks on the European model. All right, so here we go. Monday morning. Low pressure up in the Great Lakes. Now I'll say this, it's more of a frontal passage with a spin-up low type of setup on the most recent run of the European compared to the previous, and I'll show you that in just a second. You go on out to Monday early afternoon. There you go. By Monday evening, you begin to see this next low pressure taking over along the coast, and there it goes near the Pamlico Sound region Monday night, and out it goes. Now on the previous run of the European, you had this low pressure spin up. It's very similar, but it just spun up the area of low pressure in a little bit of a different location in eastern parts of South Carolina. So you had some huge, huge snow totals north and west of Interstate 85. The Canadian has continued to show the same basic idea as well. This is the most recent Canadian model run. This is Sunday night. You have this leaf of snow move in. 6 hours later, Monday morning, Monday afternoon, heading into Monday night. There you go. And that's that event. You end up with snow totals. Well, this may be tough to get this lined up, but you end up with snow totals on the Canadian. Let's see if I can resize this a little bit. There you go. Snow totals on the Canadian look like that. And freezing rain totals on the Canadian model look like that on the most recent run. Another possibility is what the UK Met model is doing, and it is more of a classic Miller B look. There's your low pressure over the northern parts of Mississippi. That's a big banana high, and that would be a snow and ice event for sure on at least the beginning stages of the event on the European model. Now the GFS is just kind of a frontal passage, not much fanfare with it on the most recent run. So there's a lot of possibilities there. I think it was back on February 1st, I began mentioning the possibility of a storm system in the February 15th to 17th time period, and of course this is that storm system. So I like the odds of there being a system that affects the southeast early on next week, kind of centered around Monday. Specifics, don't know yet. You look at some of the ensemble means and support for the potential system, and they're all over the place. I do think the European guidance is kind of the way to lean. I don't think the GFS has caught on yet. But you just look at the UK Met has a big system. Canadian has a pretty significant system. European still generating a pretty significant amount of precipitation too. And I think there's enough there that, the original ideas I laid out back early last week, it was a pattern recognition thing where it looked like you look at the things happening in the overall pattern. It favored a storm system in the 15th to 17th time period. Now you're getting into the range where you have more tangible type of data from the computer modeling. It's backing up that idea. So I'm not going to back away from the idea of a potential system, but who sees what, I don't know yet. We'll just have to continue to refine those ideas. Could trend north, could trend into more of a weak system. Don't know yet. We'll see. One thing I want to mention before I completely wrap up the video here, let's look at this. And this is a great set of images here from Weatherbell. Let me get, stand by, let me get this one right here. All right, there we go. Now these are potential record low temperatures Sunday morning. The city's circled here where you'll be within a degree, at least at this point, of record low temperatures. So you see some of those record lows possible. Record high temperatures in terms of the coldest high temperatures on record for the date. This is Saturday. Could have some record low highs occur across the Great Lakes region. Then Sunday, you see there's a record low high potential spreading all the way down into parts of the eastern part of the country and the southeast. Wait a minute, lost the chart there. There it is. All the way down into, goodness gracious, get this thing to behave for me. Even been down into Florida, some low I can always get the description of this messed up. The lowest high temperature, record low highs, if that makes sense, all the way northeastern part of the country too. So this is indeed a big shot of cold air for the weekend before any potential storm system. The cold's a big deal coming. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everybody have a great day, and God bless.